name is Brian Phillips. Look at this. All new for E-flite. It's the Foresight. Amazing. Why would it be called the Foresight? I don't know, because it's got 4 sides or something like that. We're gonna fly it right now. Check it out. 800 milliamp hour, 3S, IC2, AR630 plus. This thing comes equipped with smart technology. We set ours up with thrust reverse. And yes, we do have telemetry, so you don't need a timer, but we still set a timer, I believe. And here goes nothing. Amazing. Look at that. Super easy to fly. And no, you don't have to fly it fast. That's one of the reasons why I like it so much, is you can fly it slow. That's 50% throttle there, guys. Look at that, just chilling. Chilling like a villain. There it is. Fly out of that. Keep out of a crazy stall. And yes, this plane can be flown with safe. I did set mine up with safe. All you have to do is turn it on. You can download the profile right from the transmitter. So no, you don't have to be an expert radio system operator. But if you're not, you can just follow along on Brian Phillips RC and we'll show you exactly how to do it. Let's get a couple of passes this direction. Don't know what might be in the background, but you never know who's gonna be at Brian Phillips RC. Because what we do on Brian Phillips RC is we live the aviation lifestyle. And so every once in a while, full-scale pilots fly to Des Moines and I go pick them up and we screw around and have a good time. And it's all sorts of fun. If you see somebody in the background that looks like a pilot, it may have happened that way. But guys, look at this, shooting the moon, it's amazing. Here we go, you ready? Did I get it?
Yes, you actually did.
Sweet. That's got a pretty good roll rate.
It does.
Oh, and by the way, if you guys are wondering what safe looks like, it looks like this. That's safe, and guess what? It's still flyable. That's down, that's up, that's your up. So you've got really good limits. Lots of yaw authority, lots of down authority, and then you can do this. Beautiful, guys. Even in safe, that was with safe on, guys. Okay, now shut safe off. Let's take back off, drag that thing out, make it look cool, and then just spark it to life. Must got a little bit of wind pushing us right to left. But I keep going fast like I have to go fast, and really at the end of the day, this plane does not need to be fast. It just needs to be fun. And it is definitely fun. So the Erratics is a lot like this plane, and yours truly, I am not a 3D pilot, folks. If you guys have ever seen a 3D pilot, he looks a lot not like me. So whatever you see me doing, it's either by luck, chance,
or
and
accident.
Huh?
Or accident.
Or accident. So I've just got to say, the thing flies inverted like it doesn't even care. The AS3X has it locked in. The AS3X Plus does give you a little bit of a wing rock we noticed on our first flight, but I don't know if that's just because I am lacking in skills as a pilot, or if it's because there's just like maybe the stop lock rate.
Are you noticing that now?
No, but it's also nice and calm.
It was
and by the
windier
way,
this morning.
I gotta say, I love the way the blue looks in the sky. I was afraid, I wanna try to do a flat turn. Guys, I love how flat you can do your turns. Camera crew loves filming this type of plane. Okay, so it's finally giving me a warning, folks. Out of the throttle, and look at this. Oh, it's so much fun, guys. You gotta get one of these things. You'll have a good old time. It's just easy, super forgiving airframe. You can basically do no wrong. Oh, and then by the way, let's do a little grass hop so you guys can see. Only complaint I have so far is the 850 starts chiming pretty early, complaining about, see, look at that, guys, totally uneventful, in grass. We got a little bit of juice left. We'll take back off from grass. Obviously, there's no flapper-ons because you have a centrally mounted singular servo. So don't expect you're gonna be undermining that at all. You'd have to add a second servo, and then you'd have to redo the programming, which is not a big deal. But the truth is, I think it's good the way it is. You don't really need flaps on this. Oh, and I know some of you guys are wondering about thrust reverse. Can you fly it downhill with thrust reverse? I don't know, maybe. That was hilarious. By the way, my My transmitter is chiming like crazy at me, and it is hilarious because it's just like desperate for me to not keep
stop
flying.
doing that.
And yet I'm gonna just keep doing it because I want to. And it's really, really a fun plane. It's super easy, forgiving. You don't need a ton of skill to be able to do it. It makes you look good. And that's one of the hallmark features that I like about planes, is if it makes you look good, makes you feel good, and it's not an overly expensive thing. I definitely enjoy this plane. 850 milliamp hour could probably be swapped out for a 1300 3S, but remember, you got an IC2 connector on that ESC. Doesn't mean you can't use a non-smart pack too. So if you have a size in the middle that maybe isn't offered by Spectrum, you can use that too. So that being said, we still have power, but it just keeps chiming at me. If that drives you nuts, all you have to do is click and then scroll down to audio events, and you can go to generic reports, telemetry warnings, smart battery, and then you can change, whoops, not there, smart ESC, and then you can change where it alarms. 3.45 is default. I think that's way too high for this particular aircraft. That being said, I'm gonna leave it that way so you guys can sort of hear her talking. I know it doesn't always present itself well to my mic point, but it is talking a lot. And I definitely love the fact that you can sit there and just look at this bar graph and see how much power you have left at a glance. Okay, so we're gonna go up just one more time. Here we go. And it's vibrating. I noticed it might just be a trim issue, but it could be a little bit of wind. It wants to push me toward the house. Have you noticed that too?
Just a little bit, yeah.
And I think, let's go fly by the flag so the people can see. As you can see, that wind is pushing just ever so slightly this direction, okay? And that's 40% throttle, guys. 10.2 volts. Okay, so I didn't go into thrust reverse in time, but I just love flying this plane. It's really fun. It's not as light on its feet as some other profile planes that we've flown in the past, but I gotta say, it does what it does. It does a pretty good job. I think I'm gonna like it better with a bigger pack, but it might fly a little bit heavier. We're flying ours right at the recommended 87 millimeters back from the leading edge, which, by the way, if you're trying to locate that, is a little bit hard to find on this because of the way the plane is designed. This wingtip has a point, and so it's hard to measure out here where you'd normally put your fingers under. That's scored right there. And guess where that hits? Right where this wing spar is a pretty good measure of where they expect that CG to be. And so you can tell, well, it's actually just behind it. But if you look at that, that's right on the recommended CG with the recommended battery. So guys, what's not to like? If you're into this sort of plane, the Foresight from E-flite. Check it out, links in the video description below. You can support us by buying the planes from the video description there, or you can support us in 4 other ways. We have Patreon for monthly support. Thanks for being monthly supporters. If you want to be one, check out the links in the video description below, as well as members from YouTube. YouTube super thanks, and then PayPal for one-time donations, or just head over to brianphillipsrc.com or bprc.me if you want to use the short link. And you can check out all the plethora, thousands of videos that are ready right now that you can watch. And you can put it straight up against this brand new E-flite Foresight and see if you like it better. And if you like it better, you can buy the links are in each of those videos. Also, just wanted to say, of all the things we don't like about this plane, which there's not many, it would be putting this wing together. That was a real pain in the neck. Check out our unbox build radio setup. We'll show you exactly how we did it and the frustrations we experienced. But this thing does come apart pretty easy. It unclips here, 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 and here, as well as the same on the other side. So it actually does come down to all flat components with the exception of 2 screws right here and right here. And once you undo those 2 Phillips screws, this thing is taken back apart. I'm never gonna take it apart unless I'm selling it or shipping it, okay? But if you're into that sort of thing, it's possible. So hopefully we answered all your questions, and hopefully you'll decide to get one because this is a really fun plane. And by the way, I have to say, I don't usually recommend this type of thing for brand new pilots, but I gotta say, on safe, it does perform well. Some planes, the flight envelope is collapsed so much that it just doesn't feel good. This one feels good. You got plenty of up, you got plenty of down. And by the way, let me just show you this. Safe is now on. Look at the elevator. Look how little that moves. Look at that. Now watch this. This is out of safe. Isn't that crazy, guys?
Yeah.
So just to give you an idea, the difference between safe and regular AS3X Plus and or off, which we did turn an off setting on ours, is amazing. It's crazy. All the control surfaces move so much on this plane. So then also thrust reverse, probably a little bit non-consequential on this plane, but for those of you that are really good 3D pilots, I wanna see somebody hovering it upside down like this. It probably can do it, and it would be super cool to see. So let me know when you do, leave it in the comments below. And by the way, thanks for being part of this community here on Brian Phillips RC. We try really hard every day to try to bring you guys good content, the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God, and to help get you out of the chair and into the air. And if we're doing it, smash the like button and come back for more. Don't forget, click the bell for notifications when you do subscribe so you get notified of new content so you can see what's up next. And there is about 6 or 7 of them sitting in our office right now. Can't wait to share them. All right, leave your questions, comments down below. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. And thanks, guys, for watching. Come back for more. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look at this. It's all new from E-flite, the Foresight. And this thing is a foam board plane. Obviously, it's going to be for extreme 3D action. And it reminds me a lot of
The aerobatics.
There you go. So if you guys want to see this thing in action, stay tuned. We also have our unbox build radio setup ready for you. The worst part of building this thing is putting these X braces in. So without further ado, we're going to take off. It's going to be amazing. Flies on 850 milliamp 3S with an IC2. So be prepared. And if you don't have the right battery, make sure you get yourself an adapter. We'll have links to all that stuff in our video description below. One singular servo. One singular servo. For the ailerons. So there's definitely no flaperons. Just kind of getting a feel for how it does. Oh, super symmetrical upside down. It's crazy. You can fly it so slow. It's hilarious. I wanted to take off in the living room, but I don't have quite the skills to do a hover where I wanted to. But I'm gonna tell you what, now it just feels pretty dang rock solid. And it is, oh, it's so flat. The flat turns are crazy. So guys, if you're brand new to Brian Phillips RC, we unbox them, we build them, we do the full radio setup so you don't have to necessarily go into it blind. And I'm gonna tell you something, if you don't coordinate your turns, this thing will just stay flat as flat gets, and I love it, it's so cool. Oh man. Look how slow it's going. I love it, guys. I love slow planes. I know it sounds lame to some of you, but look at that cloud. Oh, it's so dang beautiful. Torque rolls, knife edges, all the different things that might be difficult in other planes. These planes make it super easy. And so it's really fun to be able to demonstrate these skills when you don't have them. That's why I love planes like this. They're super fun. Oh, and by the way, if you don't have the skills, you can turn on safe, like right now, and as soon as you let go of the controls, it's gonna level for you, okay? So as you can see, jank it, let go, jank it, let go, give it some throttle. That's the full up, wow.
Wow.
Okay? That's the full down, okay? And then basically when you let go, this actually is super flyable and safe. I had no idea it would be that way.
Interesting.
And as soon as you let go of the controls, it just basically levels out, which is what safe does. Sensor assisted flight envelope is what that's called. Let's actually take a safe landing just to show people. Landings are where you're gonna lose your planes. Just slow it down, and there it is. Didn't even land on the runway, and it did just fine. Now, I did fear that the tail dragger is actually a skid, so you might lose a little bit of your ground authority without having a lot of thrust, okay? So I'm gonna come out of safe now, and I'm gonna take off to show you how quick you can get in the air. Oh, and then by the way, real quick before we take back off, we have status here, okay? And that's gonna tell you how long you have to fly, full throttle it, and then straight up. She's kind of screaming at me right now, saying 10.3 volts. This thing doesn't need that much voltage to stay aloft though. I'm trying to stay in the sun for you, cam crew. Okay. Noticing a lot of wing rock, but the thing is, like, it's not hard to correct. It's kind of weird because it is rock solid until sometimes it'll just start kind of rocking a little bit, but it's not like a high-speed wing rock. I'm going very slow. But it's just the precision of the servos is nuts, guys. Like, I'm barely moving the sticks and it feels super easy to fly. You guys never see me do crazy stuff like that. I've flown in the same 50 feet back and forth, upside down or right side up. Not very well, I might add. But the thing is, look at this. It's just super easy to control. Here, let's do a hover right in front of us. Tons of power, that's 50% stick, and then you can pull right out of it and just spin like crazy. Okay, I'm getting my low voltage warning. It's giving me chimes, and the reason it's chiming is because I got really hard on the throttle, but it's now recovered a little bit. And so the only thing I'm kind of missing on this plane, guys, is I wish I had a little bit more capacity in that pack so I could punch out of stuff easier. That cloud is perfect, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's great.
Thank you, Lord, for that cloud. Okay, guys, there's kind of a crazy roll rate, as you can see. And when you have a crazy roll rate, that means you can do crazy things, but just remember, that doesn't mean you have power in the tank to get away with all said things like this. Sorry, in the shadow there, camera crew. So I gotta say, the E-flite Foresight is super fun. I'm having a blast flying it. It feels just absolutely solid. And you know what feels even better than that? Daylight savings.
I was gonna say, the temperature.
The temperature. It's spring, almost. We've only had one giant thunder snowstorm since the last time we filmed. And I can tell you this, guys, we are so happy that is the end of winter. That's our 5-minute timer elapsing. Now, if you were to ignore all the telemetry warnings, this thing is flying just fantastically, but we are like out. Oh, geese, look, geese in the background. They're probably gonna land at our pond.
It might be.
It's pretty cool. All right, guys, so let's just show you a landing that's not unsafe. Let's just show you how crazy slow you can do it. The thrust reverse is kind of crazy on this plane. We did turn on thrust reverse. Let's go out in the sun so people can see it. All I got to say, super fun, really easy to fly. Only complaint I have on this plane right now is the fact that I did not get a super long flight time. I've got about 44 seconds past the timer. I do have a little bit of a relaxation in my pack here. Let's see what we see. You guys see what I'm talking about? It's come back up. So I could take back off, and I'm gonna do that now, and we'll fly over here. Camera crew's gonna go back to my right. Very good. Throttle cuts off, forward thrust is initiated, and here we go. Into the sun. And I just think, if you wanna go up there right by the edge, that'd be great. To your right. Thank you, right there. A little hard to film in the sun, guys, but just want to show you how easy and relaxing this is. I'm at like 25 to 35% throttle right now, and the thing just gets there. It does exactly what you need it to do to keep airborne, and it's just a super fun plane to fly. Now, I believe you could probably put a bigger battery in here. I'm thinking you could get away with a 1300 3S, no problem. And all you're gonna have to do is use an adapter to get down to the smaller connector. And that's the only drawback there. It does kind of plop down if you're a bad pilot like me. But I gotta say, let's try some grass hops. Granted, guys, the grass is short. It's just, we're coming out of winter, so this is not meant to be a deception, but here it goes. Wow, look up there. Look at all those ducks.
Ooh, lots of them.
Man, it's been so cool the last few days. All these birds coming into town, just hanging out. In fact, we might have one bird coming into town today, which is pretty cool, with a pilot in it, and he's gonna come do a subscriber special with us, which is always fun, and we really enjoy it, guys. So if you're brand new to Brian Phillips RC, remember, we live the RC experience to its totality, and if you guys wanna figure out what we do so you can emulate it as much as possible, then what you need to do is you need to start flying today. Don't wait till next week, don't wait till next year, don't wait till you get that raise, don't wait till you get that better job, don't wait till your wife decides that you're gonna need to get a different place to live. All those different things, those life changes, don't wait till your kids move out. Do it with your kids. Your kids will love it. All I'm saying is you just get started today, because at the end of the day, you're not guaranteed tomorrow, but you are guaranteed to have some amazing RC experiences if you watch Brian Phillips RC. So check it out. Links in the video description below. If you want to buy this plane, you'll help support Brian Phillips RC. Let's check out a grass landing. There you go. Grass is okay. I mean, but it's admittedly, guys, the ground is rock hard. It's early. It's kind of frozen. These birds are so loud today. Look at that.
Can't see them very good.
So here on Brian Phillips RC, hope you guys can hear that. Here on Brian Phillips RC, we're always filming the sky because we really do love aviation and birds too, evidently.
Apparently, we do now.
But at the end of the day, when you do fly, you have to be watching for manned aircraft, and that's what I heard. And then the birds also came into notice. So when you fly legal. When you fly, you do it safe. We want to be good stewards of this hobby that we enjoy and love so much. If you need a remote ID to make you feel better, you can get a remote ID module. They sell a Sky module. It's pretty expensive. For most recreational flyers, you can carry it between planes, and you can slap that thing on with a piece of Velcro and be done with it and feel good and not have to worry about some FAA agent coming and putting you in the pokey. But if you don't want to do that, there's even cheaper options out there. And we have links to them on brianphillipsrc.com or bprc.me if you want to use the short link. There's also competitive offerings, and you can see all sorts of planes like this. You might want to check out the aerobatics if you have any interest in this, because it's super similar in terms of its flying characteristics and build-up and makeup and just the types of things you would do with it. I'm going to tell you this. I do really like the way that this plane flies. It's fun to fly. I'm not a 3D guy. I don't do a lot of the torque rolls and the crazy different things. You're lucky to get a hammerhead or, you know, a prop hang or whatever the heck you call them. All I love flying scale flight. That is my go-to. I love flying airplanes even more than helicopters, even though I love scale helicopters. But my appreciation for all of it has grown so much in the last 10 years because I've learned A, just how hard it is to get started will help you. And then B, just how much fun it is to do some of the things I didn't even know I was interested in. And that includes all sorts of formation flying, all the 3D maneuvering, aerobatics, but then coming back to the basics. And I'll tell you what, man, knocking the rust off when you come out of winter and into spring, for those of us that are in a northern climate where we don't get months of flight time, can be really tough. Don't wait. Get out there every opportunity you get in the early spring and get your feet under you. If you haven't been flying for 10 years, 15 years, and you just need some help getting back up to speed, you're in the right place. You found it. You've arrived. This is where you want to be. We'll get you set up. We'll give you a lot of regular market-ready solutions that are on the shelf today, waiting for you to make the decision to pull the trigger. You don't have to wait for like some model that's coming out in 6 months or, you know, the next technology that's going to be good. This is really good, and it's good right now, today, deliverable for you. All you have to do is pull the trigger. Follow the links in the video description below. This would not be what I would consider to be a beginner plane, but I got to say, I can't believe how easy it is to fly in safe. One more safe sorties. Just because we can, safe is turned on. I have it tied to switch D. We'll show you exactly how to do all that stuff in the Unbox Build radio setup. We'll try to do a grass ops takeoff. Here we go. Plenty of ups to get in the air, but it is definitely gonna limit your ups in safe, and that is because most people that are new pilots tend to way over control the plane. And yes, this is 3D plane, so you need a lot of throws. Now let's try a landing in safe. Very good. And thrust reverse. It's basically no soup for you. It's vibrating because I've run it out of juice, okay?
Really,
she's really pissed off.
Yeah.
Okay, so 10.2 volts, that's usually where you know you're out. Okay, so I'm gonna cancel the warning. And here's the thing I gotta say, we'll just step into the shade here so it's a little easier for me to see what I'm talking about. This plane is super fun. It's gonna give you the experience that you desire without the experience of 5 or 6 hours of putting together a foam profile plane. There's a trade-off to that. Because it's a production plane and it's bind and fly, comes with the AR630 Plus, you're not gonna have to do a lot of investigation on the right types of materials and glues and different stuff like that. This goes together with 2 screws and some ultimate frustration trying to read the instructions. So just do me a favor, throw the instructions in the garbage, watch our Unbox Build radio setup, because they did a pretty bad job of articulating how to put those cross members in. Yes. That being said, it wasn't really that big a deal. Once you've done it, you'll have it under your belt and it'll be no big deal. But I will say this, it was not fun and it was very frustrating. So the plane makes up for it. And it's so funny because we've built so many planes over the years here on Brian Phillips RC, and some of them have been tediously painful to put together. And yet you get in the air and you so quickly forget the pain of childbirth. That's right, I just said that in front of my wife, who's had 4 kids with no epidural. And I live to see another day. Okay, I'm gonna start walking that back. This plane is fun. The Foresight, you should get one. All joking aside, it is a really well done profile plane. We've seen lots of different, profile planes over the years, but since I'm not a 3D pilot, it's not necessarily gonna be my bag of tricks, but I can definitely have a strong appreciation for how many people are gonna love this thing. It is really well done. I love that safe makes it easy to fly. Even though I don't need it, it's nice to have safe. And if you want, you can basically turn safe on, fly, have a nice relaxing, almost just general aviation sort of like fly around and tool around, and then you can switch out of it, do your 3D, and then switch right back to it, take a landing. Not everybody has the skill to go and do 3D flying all the time right off the bat. Don't be ashamed of where you are right now. Turn safe on, okay? And turn safe back off. Get used to it, get your feet under you, and then soon enough, you won't need safe. And I know you don't believe me if you're brand new. I didn't believe myself, because here's the thing. It took me probably about a year and a half of just needing safe in every single plane. You could do it now. When I started, you couldn't. You had safe in just a few select planes. Nowadays, you used to have to crash a plane to get a safe receiver out of it. That was pretty much the only way you could do it, okay? Nowadays, you can put safe in just about every plane, and we help you do it on our Unbox Build radio setups. That's why they're 2 or 3 hours long. And you're probably thinking, but Brian, I don't have 2 or 3 hours. Get this, do you have 2 or 3 hours to go make some money to replace the plane that you just crashed? Or is 2 or 3 hours, and by the way, if you're making that kind of money, you're doing better than I am. Yeah, because the truth is, 2 or 3 hours is an investment in your skill. We'll get you there. We like to say 5, 6 videos from Brian Phillips RC Unbox Build radio setups, and you'll probably never need to see them again. You might just scroll through and find the little bit you need and then move on to the next video. And that's fine, we totally get it. But in the meantime, get yourself one of these beautiful Foresights and have a great time. AS3X Plus has it feeling locked in. Just notice that real light rock. It's almost like it feels a little bit overstable, so it wants to like tip, or understable, I guess that'd be. Either way, the point is, it doesn't really ever lose itself. It just looks like it's gonna lose itself. And then it doesn't. It's weird, it's hard to explain. We've flown a lot of planes, but I can tell you AS3X Plus has a couple of like quirky behaviors we're learning about. They're different than what we've had in the past with just standard AS3X. And it has to do with the lock release rate. I haven't learned enough about it to learn how to tune that, but since this is bind and fly, it's already tuned for you. But I'm just telling you, when you're going along, in our experience, it just does this. And it's not like it drops, like it's stalling. It just changes its absolute position just slightly. And so I don't know if you guys could see that in my flight, but if you experience it, let us know in the comments below. I want to hear what you have to say. Camera crew, if you don't mind holding that for just a second. I want to show you one other detail. If you'd happen to catch the prop on the ground, there's a good chance this O-ring is going to pop off and save your prop. But I would still say if you're a brand new or a newer pilot, I probably wouldn't suggest a plane like this, because these things, even though they're very light and they are strong, look how much carbon fiber's in the tail. 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces in the vertical stabilizer. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, I already counted that. 13, 14, 15, 16. It's all over the place, guys. And that's how they keep it light. And then you use this really thick decal sort of material that's this overlay here. And so some will say there's lighter options. You would be correct, okay? And light equals crazier, okay? If you want crazier, you can do that. But I'm just gonna say, most of the in-the-box solutions are a pretty large time commitment to build. If you don't have the time, the Foresight's for you. If you don't have the time, the other options are for you. The erratics are for you. But look at this. You open the box and it's pretty much all set, ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
AR 630 plus. You have to, that's the other thing that's annoying is putting this prop on. The prop saver is kind of a pain
Just
to put on.
the O-ring was tight.
Well, it's just a small spot.
Yeah.
It's hard to get to.
If you watch our unbox and watch how we put the wires on, you could build the plane in 10 minutes.
Yeah, because it's knowing how to put the wires on was the hard part. Yeah. And really what we're saying is there's a spot in here where you hook the J hook, and we may not even have this right because there's 2 hook points.
Yeah.
We're still not 100% sure if this one was supposed to go back here or if they were supposed to go on the same plane. We put ours forward and then this one backward because there's also a front and a back here as well. But if you go from this one here, then you might interfere with your aileron servo linkage, okay? Man, these birds are being obnoxious today.
They're interrupting you.
They just like keep going right overhead. So they're surrounding us. It's like we're being attacked. What's going on? It's called spring and I'm so happy. So guys, E-flite, you've done it again. You've made another purchase decision for lots of people that have already been threatened not to buy another plane. That's all I got to say. Check the links, video description below. You'll help support Brian Phillips RC. And then don't forget, if you don't have one of these batteries, no, you don't have to use a smart battery to fly this plane. You don't have to use a smart battery to get telemetry. And I just want to prove this to you right here. Look, you don't even have a data lead that goes to the ESC right there. You see it's blank. This is our battery. That's the gray lead is your data lead. There is no data lead that goes back. You just have to send voltage to it, which means you might need to have an adapter, or you can whack this off and you could put an XT30 on there. You could put an XT60 on there, or you could do an EC3 or an IC3, and then you could use a little bit bigger pack. If there's a complaint I have on this plane right now, it's that I'd like to probably plop a 1300 in here. And I'm not sure how that's gonna impact the CG, okay? So 1300 is gonna give you quite a bit more flight time. The other thing I'd like to do is I'd like to maybe see if there's a way to get a second battery installed here, but you see how they have this? And then they have this. That's a relief, so you've got a space for your battery, okay? So there's lots of creative things you could do. In fact, there's kind of a point where you could throw a zip tie through and you could put a bigger battery right here, I wonder. But that'd be really super close to the CG, which by the way, the CG is right where I made that scar mark right there in that plastic, because it's hard to mark this plane. You also notice that that's right about where this wing spar is, okay? So if you're trying to balance that out, we picked the right in the center, 87 millimeters from the leading edge, but because this tapers back, make sure you measure from the center and then carry out to your preferred spot.
There was a big range, and then we picked the
recommended range, which is unusual to have a recommended CG, but we did hit it right on the recommended CG, because a lot of guys that fly 3D planes like this are gonna want it to be a little bit more, or considerably more, tail heavy, okay? So tail heavy planes are gonna tend to be way more 3D capable. It's gonna be easier to hover them and do all sorts of crazy stuff. Like I said earlier, that's not my cup of tea, and it doesn't have to be yours to enjoy a plane just like this. Maybe this will be your transition from regular scale flight to some 3D action. But I'm gonna tell you something. Set your plane up, follow our on-box build radio setup. We have our dual rates and expo set to the center. We got a little bit more sensitive setting and we got a little bit more soft setting. I feel like the one that you pull straight off of the receiver gives you a lot less sensitive setting and then a really muted setting. And I feel like sometimes the high and low solution is not good enough for some people. I like a middle where I feel confident going to fly, and I can make it more sensitive if I need it, or I can make it less sensitive if I need it to get it to the ground. That's what we do. We'll help you get there. Check out the Unbox Build Radio setup if you want to watch our entire setup on this very plane. All right, guys, that's all we got for you. The NX10 is still running. We have not killed model memory yet. We're up to probably like 265, 270 models in here. And I don't know if it's just sheer count Like when it counts over 250, it blows up and catches on fire, but we're gonna go until it runs out of memory, and then we're gonna go back to the NX8. Why? Because we don't need the Hall effects gimbals, and we don't use the sliders. Point to the sliders so they know what we're talking about. And we also have 20 channels on this, just like we do on the NX8. If you need an economy solution, the NX7 is great, but you're gonna go down to 14 channels. And we have this question all the time. What do you recommend? NX8 is what we would recommend. We went to the 10 because we needed the additional channels until recently when AS3X Plus was released. We gained another 10 channels on this. We gained another 12 channels on the NX8. And now that we can control unpluggable channels that are installed in all of these receivers, we can do all sorts of flight modes and safe and panic switches and things like that that we needed a pluggable channel to assign to. Now we can use those like ghost channels at the top of the range and do cool features. So E-flite, Spectrum, taking care of us once again. Beautiful option. Check it out. Links in the video description below. When you do buy from those links, you'll support Brian Phillips RC and what we do for the RC community, which is basically bringing the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God, helping get people out of the chair and into the air, and hopefully back into the hobby if you're on a hiatus, or into the hobby if you're brand new. Because here's the thing, there's never been an easier time in the history of time to learn to fly RC than right now. Don't miss your opportunity. If you wait 6 months, you're gonna be 6 months behind. No matter how good you are, you lost 6 months of enjoyment, okay? I'm telling you. Get started now. You can fly on a budget. If you need to keep a tight budget, just save up $500-600 to get started, and then you could run on a couple $100 a month. Just save up. You're not going to buy a new plane every single month, okay? And you can do it. All right? That's what people do that are on a tight budget. You can be even tighter than that, but it does get a little harder. I'm going to tell you this. I know what it's like. That's the way I was when I started. We had lots of responsibilities to the family. We've come, a long ways since then. But I'm gonna tell you this, I'm gonna encourage you. Don't give up on your dream, make it happen. We're here to help. All right, if you wanna help support us in other ways, you don't wanna buy this plane, check out brianphillipsrc.com. You can find the plane you do want. Also, in the video description below, we'll link to the batteries and adapters and things that we mentioned, like the transmitter. And sometimes products tab comes up. If you follow those links, you help support us too, but they're usually a little bit more ambiguous because it's kind of a new tool for us here on Brian Phillips RC on YouTube. Also, our playlist is a good place to find more amazing choices just like this, but bprc.me, our website, will help you find them easier. Special thanks to our patrons. If you're one of our patrons or a YouTube member, thanks for supporting us monthly. We appreciate it. If you want to support us monthly, you can be one of those too. Video description will get you linked up to that, or you can go to brianphillipsrc.com to read more about it. And then we also have PayPal for one-time donations, and then YouTube super thanks are always appreciated. But we say this every time and firmly believe the best way for you to support Brian Phillips RC is watch the videos, smash the like button, click the bell for notifications, and then buy the occasional plane that you can't live without through the links. That's how you keep us funded, and that's how you keep this RC addiction working. So, signing out. Thanks for watching, guys. So much more from Brian Phillips RC. Foresight. Use your foresight and order it today.